Welcome to another edition of North Heat. I'm Bob Lennon, president of Thermalwood Canada, and host for the show. And our special guest today, JP Leblanc. JP, how you doing today?
Pretty good, and you?
Oh, I'm doing well. Listen, we had you on this show 3 or 4 months ago. You were at the time talking about going to work on a new single, and you were going up to Shawinigan to do that. And you had just been nominated for the East Coast Music Awards, and there was a lot of stuff going on. So we passed that now. We're now in May, and a lot of stuff. Your album just got launched, I think.
Well, that's pretty much what happened since we talked.
Yeah.
The album was nominated for East Coast Music Awards, which happened last week or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
in Fredericton. And we had lots of fun. It was really nice seeing all of the artists again, the musicians, having all the smile on their faces, just to be back, to be, playing live again and having the gala, because it was canceled for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was in Fredericton. It was all smiles. So I didn't win, but that's okay. It was just, I know it's cliche, but to be nominated is really...
Well, yeah, and that's the big thing, right? Being nominated and it helps out. And we were just talking a minute ago about how the music industry has changed. When you were on the show 3 or 4 months ago, the last time, you talked about that, through COVID, you weren't just a musician, but you also had to learn how to brand yourself, how to go out and market, and how to take care of your own gear, all of those things together. But we're talking a little bit more in detail a while ago, and want you to share a little bit with our audience, is that the world has changed on how you do it, because talking about your new single. You don't have a physical album that you're handing out like it's.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about that, because it's intriguing and how that works.
Well, yeah, no, I really had to educate myself on the business of the music, because everything changed from the last time I was doing it professionally, like 12, 15 years ago. Because before it was mostly shows and CD sales, which back then you could still sell CDs during your show, which was a great source of additional income. Back in the day, you could, sell, let's say, 20 CDs during a festival, even more, for $20 a pop. So that was a good extra source of income. Nowadays, nobody buys any CDs anymore. During the pandemic, there was a lot less shows, almost no shows going on. So what I did for the first couple of months is to educate myself on the industry. So I listened to a lot of podcasts about the different sources of income. And what I decided to do is really diversify my business, because that's what it is. It's the music business. So I did create my own little online virtual store, which people can buy merchandise, so like t-shirts and hoodies. So when I used to do my Facebook Lives once a week, I would kind of tag my virtual store. So if people like the show, I would say, okay, well, buy a t-shirt and I'll play 2 other songs, and I could get like more sales that way.
Yeah.
And so I have that, and then of course there's music royalties from radio, but that has changed a lot too since 15 years ago. So there are different royalty rates depending on different radio stations. Like there's different tiers. So that's another source of income. And the streaming, unfortunately, is almost minimal. I think it's around a cent per 1,000 streams that you get from YouTube, Apple Music and Spotify. So, but the objectives are different. Like if I'm promoting the album or the single, in this case, I want a lot of people to listen to it, right? Because I'm still in the brand awareness phase, because beforehand, I was very limited to, like, let's say the Maritimes and Quebec, but now it's worldwide. You can connect throughout
definitely.
the world, right? So blues is really a small niche, especially in Bathurst, New Brunswick.
Yeah.
So coming from a rural, place in New Brunswick, I'm thinking, okay, well, there's some blues fans in France and
you got to
Germany. I can target, So the blues in New Brunswick is very small, but if you go worldwide, it's large. So I'm trying to really tap to the worldwide audience and say, hey, look, if you like some new blues original music, check it out. And what's nice with the algorithms now with Facebook ads and YouTube, which I taught myself how to do because it came with the side of the music industry, of the business of it, was to say, okay, here's a clip, here's my music. And then I could say to Facebook, okay, I think, somebody in, their mid 40s who likes Joe Bonamassa, who's another
Yeah.
blues artist, might be interested in my type of music. So Facebook will try to promote the ad to
Now there's
that.
somebody that has figured out how to
He
use
was
social
one of the
media.
first ones
Yeah.
who actually tapped into Facebook ads, and he went all in with that platform. And I mean, that's when he started, and then he's got 4 or 5 million followers on that, and then he promotes all his shows and his
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
tutorials on it. So
Well,
he sells merchandise and guitar lessons, and so he's created a whole network of.
Well, even has I believe it's on Netflix. So you can go on, and it's his story and how he does that, and how he's actually growing. And he is one of the biggest stars that's making money through all of that. And there's a lot of people that don't know who he is.
Yeah.
But it's all through his social media stuff. And so you need to learn that.
Yes.
On how to do that kind of stuff, because like you said, you don't get any money from streaming.
No.
And so, but you also spoke about, before we got on the air here, you talked about the fact about getting picked up by satellite radio. And so what I'm understanding you doing is that the more, and does it work this way? The more that you get people to view your stuff, that's how they pick you up? Or how can we help? How can anybody as an audience help you to get picked up by one of these so you can make a better living?
It's a great question. Thanks for the help. But I don't know. I'm not an expert on it. From what I heard, being on the satellite radio, it's kind of a luck thing too, in a way. So what you do is you put your music out there, and if the DJ from those stations like what they listen, and they pick you up and put you on the platform or on their rotation, then it's a good place to be on as far as the money goes. But that's just one part of the business. That's what I'm hoping to do with my single, because I don't have a full album. So really, I'm hoping to get radio airplay and hopefully get some royalties from it. But it's really trying to set the stage up to get more shows in the future. So right now,
Okay.
It's like I got my album that I just released. I got this new single which I co-produced with pretty famous guy in Quebec, Jeff Dubé, who's the lead singer from Noir Silence, which we co-wrote the song via Messenger during, I think it was December or January. So it was the first time that I had the chance to co-write a song with somebody, and it wasn't in person. And he played on the track, he produced it, and we're going to be working on some shows in the fall together. So it's all that camaraderie, and the world just kind of opened up. So as hard as it is right now in the industry, I'm so hopeful, because everything seems to open up, just not just as far as like seeing other people, but just the platforms, right? So you can reach out to the world, and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, who wants to listen? Here's my music.
Yeah, well, like you mentioned, the blues scene in Bathurst, maybe not that big, and not enough to you make a living at it, but social media and the platforms that are out there allows you to reach the world.
Yeah.
And you never know where in the world that you might end up.
Exactly. And Joe, what he's because I studied a bit what Joe was doing, and what he did, we decided to do, is he would produce his own shows. So instead of like, sending your music to festivals and asking them for booking, he would just produce his own show and say, look, I'm going to be playing somewhere, but he's the one taking the risk from it, but he's taking the reward.
Oh yeah, okay.
If they get a good, if he makes a profit. So the business model has totally changed from what I understand, just doing my research in the last few months.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, and I think that what you're doing is pretty amazing, and it's in a changing world. The stuff that we've just talked about, and I'm sure a lot of people that are going to listen into the show have never heard about, they see one part. They'll see you up on stage and figure, okay, you're getting paid for this gig. But, it's everything else behind it, and how you get known and how you get people out there that a a lot more difficult. It's not just like, watching a show on TV. You should try Americans Got Talent and that kind of stuff.
I
That's a
don't
different
know.
ballgame
Yeah,
altogether,
I'm
too.
not. I'm not much in the contests.
Yeah.
For me, music is the creative part, the collaboration. I know it's. I just don't want to be against somebody for that.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
Yeah.
just kind of my
Yeah.
philosophy
Yeah.
with it, and I'm just a stage in my career. I'm not. I'm 37, but I've been through the game before, and I just want to do it. For the so it doesn't feel like a contest. That's
Yeah.
just my
Yeah.
personal opinion.
Listen, I think that
Yeah.
that's a great way of doing it. And even when you watch these contests, you feel bad for the person that doesn't win in here because they got great voices. You listen to some of
Yeah.
this stuff and they have talent.
And there's one thing we learned during the pandemic is like there's a lot of talent down there, right? So it's
Absolutely.
like you go on YouTube, there's a whole bunch of people singing great guitar players and all that, but what can you do differently? I think that's what I'm trying to do, trying to create original content, something different. But yeah, it's a different ballgame altogether. Because when I stopped playing back in the day, YouTube was just starting, and I remember I used to get upset because when somebody would film my show and put it on YouTube, I would say, "Hey, they didn't give permission to put that on YouTube, and that's not the best quality." But I didn't think of the possibilities of it.
Yeah.
Just like Justin
And
Bieber
today,
did, right?
yeah.
Today's totally
And
different.
today, that's where it
Totally
is.
different ballgame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And today, that's where it is. Well, listen, I wish you the best. It's a different world to play in and to work in these days, and you brought it to light on how that whole business model has changed. So the effort that it's different. Everything is different around it. So
Yeah.
again,
And it's to be flexible, just like any other business.
Yeah.
Too. When COVID hit, my shows disappeared, but at the same time, I was like, well, the Rolling Stones can't play either. So,
Yeah.
let's figure something out, So that's when I started doing the Facebook Live and trying to be more present online. So,
well, and online, what people see different is how do you differentiate yourself from everybody else? So,
Yep.
it's your story and the
Yep.
stories that you tell inside your music. So, again, JP, the best of luck. And where can people listen to your single?
well, it's on all the different platforms. So Spotify, iTunes, it's all on there. So you just choose the one you want, but it's all on the different platforms. Yeah. And you can check out my Facebook page. I'm more present on it versus Instagram, but Facebook, I put all my my shows and what's coming up. And I do have a website, jpleblanc.ca as well.
Perfect. So there we go. Another edition of Northern Heat for this week, the place you come to listen to the stories that you haven't heard yet.